Look lively.
We are backstage right now with not World of Ability. We're backstage with AbilityMKE Now. I forget, it's a holiday. I forget what day we're on. So about 20 seconds here, and we will be live with River West Radio. So stand by.
Heard they're the best community radio station on the planet.
Of course it is.
Awesome.
Welcome to AbilityMKE Now on River West Radio. My name is Sue Roscoff, and I am here with Kurt Roscoff and a couple of wonderful guests here this evening. We are AbilityMKE Now, which is a show all about integration, bringing people with disabilities and people that don't have a disability together, enjoying life here in the Milwaukee area. We all have different abilities, and here at AbilityMKE Now, we dive into this topic of diverse abilities. The concept of disability hits a wide range of possibilities. We could be talking about physical or mental disabilities, the deaf and hard of hearing community, blindness, chronic pain, mental health diagnosis, goals of substance use reduction, and the list goes on. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own or with people we know or people we encounter in our daily lives. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we break down the barriers and celebrate the ability in all of us. I am extremely excited this evening to have a wonderful guest joining us. And Kurt and Emily actually have had a chance to get to meet Suzanne already, but this is really a first great conversation I'm getting to have with her tonight, and I am super excited. Before she comes on in here, though, I'm going to have Emily come in and introduce her properly. Over to you, Emily.
All right, so hi everybody, welcome to the show. We're happy everybody's here. But yeah, Kurt and I met Suzanne, I believe, through the Happy Neighborhood Project, right, Kurt? I believe so. But Suzanne is down in Texas, and Kurt and I are in just like a few days here starting a podcast, Suzanne's podcast called the Aspie Bridge, and she's all about women with Asperger's and the diagnosis like later in life, kind of a thing. But let's bring Suzanne in here to say a little bit more about who she is, what she does, and so on.
Well, hi everyone. I am a late diagnosed Asperger woman, which means that I went through elementary school, I went through high school, I went through college, believing I was just weird, different, out there. And I had all sorts of thoughts that never even occurred to people. Little did I know that those thoughts tied into this wonderful world called Asperger's. And I have always been a creative person and very visionary. In fact, one of the funny quick stories I can tell you is I used to give my husband a grocery list and tell him aisle by aisle how to find everything on a grocery list. And when he called me up and said, "Where is it?" I would say, "Look about your knees. That's where it is." He'd be like, "How do you know that?" I said, "Well, first of all, I worked there, but I have photographic memory, which means that I can tell you where things are when I've seen them once or twice. I also have a very visual memory, which is why I never considered myself disabled, just gifted. I always considered myself to have this memory way out into the future. And I didn't realize till I joined my organization back in 2018 that this is rare. I thought everybody had this vision out into the future. I first understood that I had it was during fourth grade science class when I didn't like science. I'd sit there and think about everything else that had to do with science. But let's get back to where I come into the story. There are so many people who are now learning as adults either because their kids are finding out that the kids are diagnosed as Asperger's, and lo and behold, mom's sitting in the doctor's office. Wait a minute, that's autism, and that's autism, and that's, I've been dealing with that all my life. Maybe I'm autistic. Well, in my case, I do have a daughter who is ADHD, but no one in my family is autistic. But at the same time, some of these special traits that I discovered, being very visual, is a positive one. But on a negative one, well, I'm not going to call it negative, needing more help. I have the audio processing, and my housemate laughs at me because I'll look right at her and have no idea what she's saying. Because if people aren't projecting or using a certain tone of voice, it's lost. Now, my disability, which I will claim is a disability for me, is I have trouble with my right ear. In a lot of children and adults, we have ear canals that go down, which means that all the water goes into our ears and never escapes out. Oh, well, so my disability is my hearing, as you were saying, Sue. So yes, that is it. But otherwise, I call myself a different ability. And I call it a different ability because I never saw it as bad. I never saw it as, I mean, I consider myself in terms of competition, maybe less than my brothers, but not bad. I just had a good feeling about who I was. For the most part, I did struggle a little bit, but I always figured it was a positive. I was just different. I was just out there. I just had very creative ideas. Now, where does the Asprey Bridge come in? There are thousands of people, believe it or not, out on YouTube now telling people what autism is. We have a great grasp from Paul McCullough, who's out in Australia, and Yosemite Sam, who's in Belgium, and we have Sarah Hendricks out in England. Then they're all explaining what autism is. But I have yet to find someone who says, and here's what we do about it. And they're all telling everybody what to do, but they're not connecting the bridge of how to get all of us back into society. And I say that because here I am thinking I'm normal, but having some needs, and no one wants to help because they don't understand it. Well, now we have all these people who will explain it, but they're not saying to society, hey, society, give them a break, help them along, understand that they have different interviewing processes, help them understand that maybe the question answer isn't the best format of interview, but there are others. Let's get society to help each other with all of our different abilities. So the Asprey Bridge, and I'm the torchbearer, helping these Asprey women to go across the bridge, get back into society. And then I also have an organization where I have a bunch of my coaching friends who will meet them at the top of the bridge and offer them resources in their particular zone of genius. Like, I'm not going to just say to my friends, hey, teach them how to do this. Well, if that's not my friends, my coach friends' passion, they're not going to be a big help. So I've gone out and found different people that have different zones of genius and said, would you like to be my home and hearth organizing? Would you like to be my healthy eating? Would you like to be my financer? So I've created a team of people who will actually meet at the top of the bridge. Now, does that mean that the Asprey woman can sit back and just cross her arms? You better believe she cannot do that. I'm an action taker. If I want help, I have to ask for it. And if not only do I have to ask for it, I have to be willing to take the steps to get to the other side of the bridge. And I have done that. I have a lot of friends who are on the other side of the bridge who have welcomed me. And that's where I am, is finding the resources to help the Aspie woman cross the bridge and know that she is welcome, because not a lot of people talk about how to help them. They only tell them what that is. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I love it. And zones of genius, that phrase was like that. I wrote that one down because that one really resonates with me. That, like I say at the beginning here, that we all have different abilities, right? So, and you have figured out where it is that you have abilities that are different than mine, and you have strengths. Everybody has their own strengths, and you know what? Play to those, right? Take advantage of the things that you're good at, and that's where things are so much better when we can team up and be able to focus on all of our strengths and make the most of it. And oh my gosh, we get to go so much farther, so much faster that way. It's not
Yeah,
a ability. This is a great ability.
it
So
is.
with Aspie Bridge, then tell me more. How long has this been going on, that you have this idea of Aspie Bridge, and what all have you all what all have you done with it at this point? I'm curious where in the process you are and what your vision is way out into the future. Where do you see it all going?
Okay, thank you for asking, Sue. This actually started just a year ago of bringing all the parts together. Now, I have been out in the world of Starbucks, working at the registers and enjoying it, but knowing I could go a lot further if I had other people who would welcome me in and teach me how to money manage, how to do all these things. I said, wait a minute, why don't I just create a team of resources for all the Aspie people out there who need help with home organization? That happens to be a strength of mine. I don't have a problem with that. But money managing, technology. So I created this website of team leaders, and I brought in all my coaching friends because I'm a spiritual certified transformational life coach. And what I do is I help women find their strengths. I'm actually an enrichment coach. I help them find their gifts so that they're not just going out into society and saying, I can work at Burger King. No, I really want her to know what her zone of expertise is. I have a woman who, when I first met her, was scared to death to offer her pottery. Now she's all over Facebook, exuberant, because I got her to realize that that's her gift to the world. Offer her pottery, and I think she's having a lot of fun. So not only am I a coach to help people understand their insides of what makes them strong, but I've now helped them find their actual gifts. What are you good at? What can you take to the world that no one else can give? And that's where they start to blossom, and they hold their head higher. And like, especially with this one girl, I'm like, can you imagine how great she feels now that she can put all of her pottery that she's done right on Facebook? Her self-esteem, she can now hold her head high because this is her gift. Everyone has a gift. So I help women and their associated men learn what their gifts are so that they can walk into society and say, look, yes, I'm autistic, but this is what I can do.
Love that. That's what Ability MKE Now is all about, right? We're all about being able to showcase the ability in all of us. And what you're doing is amazing. I love this. And actually, I'm going to ask Kurt here. Kurt's with us tonight as well. I know you have had a chance to talk with Suzanne previously too. So what do you see in what she's all doing that can be a real strength and benefit?
Well, what I would say is, as anything in the people business, there's always different twists and turns as you meet new people and reach out to new demographics. So being this demographic of women with late diagnosis Asperger's is really, an insight to the human journey, because, we're talking about, you, Suzanne, and all the women out there that relate to this, to live, a couple decades or whatever, a few decades, and just kind of figuring ourselves out and learning ourselves, finding, the various ways that we have to keep loving ourselves and building this capacity of ourselves so that we are finding that we're the value that we want to be for another person. And so here at Ability MK Now, I'm going to call him one of our founding fathers, Jory Przynski. He's the founder of hopeandstill.org. He's been here talking about stigma because, like, the idea is there can be seasonal considerations where, depending on what's going on in society or these social settings, it can be interesting and it can be a nuance to heighten the contrast. That there's these situations we can get in to say, wow, this is where I've said here many times the falsely claimed dream, because this is the observation I've made about myself. So it's like a late diagnosis, you know, person who could be doing more type of thing, that, I didn't realize how much I was, kind of not making myself available to pretty much the entirety of the disability community. And so this bridge concept to me is just fabulous because it's got that imagery, and it's got that imagery of, you've got the other reasons for the bridge because you want the actual like guidance to go from where we want to be to where we want to go. But now I can take that bridge, how it works good as imagery for your message. Now I can take the bridge and say, my bridge looks like this. My bridge looks like I felt like for 40 years, I was on this side of the bridge and I would once in a while traverse over to the other side of the bridge where in my mind, this wasn't actually what was happening, but in my mind, people with disabilities were on the other side. But what I came to find out is that if I traverse back and forth across the bridge on a daily basis, I found out no matter which side I'm on, people with disabilities are closer than they appear. And I would talk about like being in a car with your rear view mirror. Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. So, I'm excited for what the weeks and months ahead and the year ahead of us, Suzanne, because this is what I've been craving the last decade. Ways to get out there and to deal with this on both sides of the equation. So this is on both sides of the equation, being ladies with late diagnosis Asperger's and the rest of the world. Yeah. So tell me more about that, Suzanne, like the impact. You're doing it one person at a time, but I know that you have this faith and this confidence that you're going to make a big impact because you're going to create this roster of all the people you've helped. You're going to create this pattern and it's going to get big, that it's going to be impossible to miss.
Mm-hmm.
More about what you're doing with that, Suzanne.
Well, first of all, you see the ladybird behind me? That's what I'm hoping each and every lady is going to feel like when she has been able to walk across that bridge with her head high, because she's now accepted into any field, any career she wants. Up until now, we've been pigeonholed. We've been the chambermaid, we've been the Burger King, we've been the Starbucks, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've enjoyed my job working at the drive-through window. I enjoy talking to people. One thing that really gets a lot of people really mystified about me is like, you can talk, you can communicate. I'm like, yes, we're all different. We all have strengths. I've been talking for a long time. I've been communicating my ideas. They may not come out the way everyone else thinks, but the biggest thing is to get all these women to realize, hey, I'm important. I have a skill. I belong on the other side of the bridge. I don't belong back in my own little corner of the woods where I'm victimized and feel rejected. My idea is to get every woman, every person who feels like they're less than, to say, no, I'm no longer less than. I am just creating my own niche of talent that I can bring over the bridge. And yeah, if a woman comes to me and says, I'm ready to take action, and that's the most important thing right there. I'm not going to go and drag women over the bridge. They have to be ready. They have to say, I'm done being a victim. I'm done letting everybody tell me that I'm bad. I'm done letting my family control me, which is where I was about 3 years ago. I was dealing with a family that didn't believe I was autistic, didn't believe I was as good as my brown educated brothers. And I'm like, wait a minute, no, I have different skills. And if I'm going through that, I want other women to see that they can cross the bridge too, because for the last 3 years, I have been freely crossing that bridge and enjoying life. And it's just, I'm the role model, or as I call myself, the torchbearer, because I'm not just some person who's read a bunch of books about what autism is. I've walked the journey. I know the pain. I know the feeling of victimhood when your siblings are doing so much more. I know the pain of what it feels like to be rejected by groups that don't understand you. But I've found my way across, and if I can find my way, I can convince other women that they have a way as well.
And actually, when I hear you say this, I totally relate this to so many people in our population. It's not just those that have a diagnosis like this. It would be applicable to most everybody I know. Where you are, you know, you want to get to somewhere, and how do you create that bridge? And the things that you're talking about are relatable to everybody. It's a big thing to be able to start. And you know, that is, I think, a huge scary point for a lot of people, is to know that, okay, just because you see this, okay, the bridge in front of you, what's the picture of it? Is it a short little thing across a ditch, or is this like Golden Gate Bridge and it's massive, huge, and I don't see how I can get there? But you know what? One step at a time, one foot in front of the next. It takes step by step to get to where you want to go. So
And people are never alone. Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing, is I'm there to walk with them. So many people are like, you've got this, go for it. And yet women still feel like if no one really understands them, doesn't understand their journey, they're not going to take that first step because they don't know that it's possible. And I'm here to tell them it is possible because I've been on the other side of the bridge and I'm coming back to get you too. And so, yeah, it applies to so many people who feel like they're on the other side of the bridge, not just the Aspie women, but anyone who feels like they've been left behind.
Awesome. And now, do you have a website that tells more information, or do people get in touch with you directly to find out more? Or how do we find out more about what you've put together?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yes, I have a website and I'm in the process of getting more and more team leaders who have different zones of web genius in them. But my website is called aspiebridgebuilders.com.
Actually spell that out. The first, is it ASPY?
ASPIE BRIDGE builders, all one word.
Got it. So ASPIE bridgebuilders.com.
And there are two ways on that. One way is for the Aspie woman who's like, I'm tired of my life. I want some results, but I can't do it myself. And they'd call me or they'd sign up on this page and they would say, okay, I'm looking for help in the following areas. Like I had one woman say to me that she can't create a meal without falling asleep in her plate because she's exhausted. I have myself who was like, I have no idea what's in style anymore. I don't know what to wear. So, I mean, everyone has different needs. Everyone has different gifts. So the Aspie woman can come in and sign up as I'm looking for these services. Now we also have the same website where on page Bridge Builders team, you can go in if you want to help, if you want to be a bridge builder and say, hey, I really love decorating for the holidays. And I know there are women out there that won't decorate for the holidays because it's overwhelming. But if you have a zone of genius and you really want to help these women cross, there's also a page, the Bridge Builder team page is a place where you can sign up to be a bridge builder and bring your zone of genius to all of these women. And I have 17 different categories, and one of them is for the men in the women's life, the spouses, the brothers, the cousins. And I have kind of left it there just because I don't know that field quite as well, but I'm sure a lot of people can help. I have one male Aspie man coach in there who will help the guys to learn how to dress for a date or what to say on the first date and things like that. But I'm sure all the other um, 16 different categories will serve them as well.
Excellent. So when somebody first reaches out to you, what would they expect? Can you talk to us just briefly about if somebody reaches out, what's that starting point look like?
The starting point looks like, hey, tell me about your life. Tell me where you might have some challenges that are just too hard for you to get through your day with because your life just seems to fall apart at that point, or it just slows down. So I started to ask them, what is their life like? But I also asked the positive. I said, what are your gifts? What do you like to do? And that usually brings up, well, I could do, but I have trouble with. Oh, well, I happen to have someone who can help with that part of your challenge so you can keep bringing your gifts in. So it's a lot of conversation like we're having now. It's not an interview because I know what interviews feel like. It's more of a tell me about your life. Tell me where things are going well. Tell me where things might be take you 3 times as long as you think they should. And those are the areas where I say, okay, you're going to get 8 hours. 8 coaches, 2 hours at a time, and you're going to be able to sit down with those coaches who are volunteers, and they will help you solve a problem in your life. Now, once they've gone through 8, we've also determined that they're going to then have a sliding scale for the next 9 through whatever number of coaches they want to use. We wanted to do it such that they pick their hardest 8, and then we want the coaches to be able to earn a little bit of income after that point. So you get a choice of any 8. We're not going to tell you, but 9 through, you may have to put a little bit of money into a program.
That I love what you've put together. This, I think, will really resonate with a lot of people. And I want to just give Emily a chance to come back in. I'm curious, what is your thoughts when you hear all this? What does this mean to you? What do you see in what Suzanne's put together?
I think it's awesome, especially being somebody with Asperger's, and this is interesting because I have Asperger's, and I was also diagnosed sort of late in my mid to late 20s. So this is kind of perfect. So it's funny how things come together, but I think it's awesome though, and hopefully it's just hopefully I'll see it move forward. So.
Excellent. Well, and Suzanne, I can't thank you enough for joining us here on AbilityMKE Now and sharing your passion, sharing what you have put together here with Aspie Bridge. And this is amazing to me. I absolutely love it. Your time here now and coming into the new year, I'm so excited. There's gonna be so many wonderful things yet to come. So my name is Sue Roskoff, and for Kurt, Emily, Suzanne, thank you so much for being here. And for all of us at AbilityMKE Now, thank you.